My name's Holly Bell. I was a finalist on the Great British Bake Off and I write a blog called Recipes from a Normal Mum. On this episode of Keep Calm and Bake, I'm going to show you how to make a simple chocolate ganache tart. It's really easy to make and everybody always loves it. You can start off with some flour. This is plain flour, and pop that into the bowl, and then I've got some icing sugar, so this is to make sure the pastry's nice and sweet, and I've got some plain unsalted butter here. So this is an all butter pastry, which means it tastes really delicious. It also means it's quite easy to handle. So what I'm going to do is make this into breadcrumbs, and you do that by rubbing the mixture in. So use your thumb and your fingers to sort of push the butter through the flour and icing sugar mixture. So I've rubbed all the butter into the icing sugar and the flour, and you can see there I've got a really great breadcrumb-like consistency, which means it's ready to bind it. Now, I use an egg to bind this pastry, and I don't mix it up before I put it in, I just tend to crack them straight in. And then I use a blunt knife to break the yolk, and then mix it up a little bit, and then literally just stir it around, and you'll see the pastry start to come together in clumps. Now, it might seem like it's not going to come together, but it will. You just have to be a bit patient. And the reason I'm using a knife and not my hands is because my hands are going to be warm, and warmth is the enemy of pastry. Pastry likes to be cold and it likes to be lazy, so we're going to give it a rest in the fridge after this stage. Now, I'm going to get my hands in now just for that last bit, and I'm just going to pull it together using the palm of my hand, and it should leave a completely clean bowl at the end of it. Almost there. Right, there we go. So, grab some cling film. What you want to do is make it into a kind of a squashed circle. That is a perfect circle, and I will just cover it with cling film. Make sure that none of the pastry is exposed to the air in the fridge, because it will go really hard. And there you go. So my pastry has been chilling for 30 minutes now. So I am going to put a little bit of plain flour on my work surface here. This is just to stop it from sticking when I roll it out. I will place this onto the top here. Bit more flour over the top. And what I've got here is a loose bottomed tin. This is important because it means you can get your chocolate ganache tart out much more easily. Okay, so I'm just going to use my hand just to make sure that the flour's all over the top, because I don't want my rolling pin to stick. Now, when you're rolling pastry, it's important not to do this, okay? Because if you do that, what you do is you're kind of stretching the pastry and you're overworking, which means that the gluten starts to seize up and it makes the pastry tough, okay? So I'll show you what you do instead. Is you start off, you go one way, okay? And another trick is use the weight of your body as you're pushing down. I'm going to turn it. Again, I'm just going to, same here. It's about 3 to 4 millimeters. This pastry, I call it my most well-behaved pastry because I've never had it stick on me yet, so let's hope that doesn't happen today. So the way to transfer it, I find easiest, is to put your two hands underneath and keep them palm up, and then literally just drag it across. Give it as much as you can into the tin, and what I mean by that is push it down and make sure that it's got enough pastry that's going all the way down into the corners. How do you trim the top of the pastry? This is the easiest way to do it. Take the rolling pin and just take it all the way across the top, and this gives you a really nice crisp edge. So take these all away, and then pop your thumbs into the pastry case and just push up, because obviously this might have pushed the pastry down a little bit, so it might, what you want to do is push it so that it just pops above the tin like this. I'm going to give it another chill just because it means the pastry is less likely to shrink in the oven, and it will also taste that little bit better because it will have time to relax.
To take the pastry out of the fridge, put greaseproof paper in and your baking beans straight into the oven for 15 minutes, and then take it out and bake without for another 10ish minutes until it's nice and golden brown.
So the pastry case is baked. I'm going to now boil the double cream, so pop it onto the heat. All you're doing here is just waiting until you start to get bubbles. You're scalding the cream. don't let it bubble up and boil over, because if you do that, your ganache will be a bit grainy. Now, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't throw it away, I'd still use it, but it probably won't look as good once it's in the pastry case. This cream now is starting to get a bit of steam coming off it. It's starting to get a few bubbles right at the edge of the pan. So that's great. I'm going to take it off the heat. I've got some butter here. Then I've also got the chocolate, which is milk and dark chocolate, reasonably finely chopped, just because that means that it will melt more quickly. Just take a regular spoon and stir it until it all dissolves. As it melts, it will become one complete colour. This dessert is great for if you are having people around for dinner or you're having a party. You could just leave it on the side. You could even make it into little tiny cases if you wanted to. You don't have to do one big tart. So you can see here that it's completely the same colour. Make sure there are no lumps sitting at the bottom hiding. Final stage is to pour it into the pastry case. So I'm literally just going to keep it reasonably low because you don't want to splatter the ganache everywhere.
So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and if you do make the tart, send in your pictures, leave any comments below, or give us a thumbs up if you like the recipe.
I'm going to be patient and leave it out of the fridge until it's set.
I hope you enjoyed the recipe, and I'll see you next time.